Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It's an experience, man.
Yes, it was. Hell yeah, that is real. That is real.
Experience NASCAR like never before. Take the wheel at NASCAR Racing Experience now.
Hey Jesse, this eRacing Association car is feeling pretty good around Rockingham. Have you tested it yet?
Yeah, Jesse, I'm testing the ERA Rockingham car right now in the sim. I think we got it driving pretty good.
Hey Jesse, you did a pretty good job getting that ERA car ready for Rockingham. You want to let Mr. Alex know?
Bobby Zelensky.
Bobby Zelensky.
Bobby Zelensky.
Bobby Zelensky here. I will finally be your NASCAR champion.
Bobby Zelensky wins at Richmond Raceway.
Zelensky wins his 5th straight road course win.
Zelensky holds them all at bay to win at Talladega.
Bobby Zelensky is headed to Phoenix.
He's a championship favorite. He once again solidifies it.
One of the GOATs, one of the best to do it. It's our man, Bobby Z.
Thunder Valley roars to life again as some of the best gladiators on the eNASCAR circuit arrive in the hills of virtual East Tennessee as the eRacing Association returns for Race 3 of this first season of 2026 with a trip to the last great Coliseum, the world's fastest half mile, Bristol Motor Speedway, another edition of the ERA Omega Cup powered by PGR eSports. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to the virtual Coliseum here in East Tennessee. My name is Dawson Wise as we welcome you into the PGR eSports broadcast booth for coverage of ERA action from Bristol Motor Speedway. Joining me in the booth tonight is Austin Green. We'll talk to him in just one moment. Firstly, the rest of our broadcast crew tonight. The pit reporter downstairs is Tyler Vickery. You'll hear from him throughout the night as he reports on the stories on the trackside level. Our producer downstairs, the fantastic Christian Hill, doing all the hard work behind the scenes on the production controls. Austin, we've arrived in Bristol. The first 2 races of this opening season of 2026 have been wild. We saw a photo finish at Daytona. We saw a heck of a battle to the end at Auto Club a few weeks back, but now the temperature gauge gets turned up just a little bit. The last great Coliseum awaits. It needs no introduction. Bristol, the venue tonight.
Yeah, Bristol, the definition of chaos. A lot of drivers get scared about accidents and cautions when we go to a track like Daytona, but when you shove 30-plus cars on a track that's only a half a mile in length, you know it is going to get wild. Bristol Motor Speedway, you heard Dawson mention, of course, located in Tennessee. One of the things that makes this track so unique, again, only a half a mile in length, but almost the same exact banking as what you would see at Daytona and Talladega, and that banking is progressive. That means more banking the higher up you go on the racetrack, and that means multiple grooves of racing. I think we're going to see a lot of different strategies at play here tonight, Dawson, but of course, the biggest thing is avoiding all of the chaos.
Bristol Motor Speedway, my personal home track here in East Tennessee, and chaos is the name of the game here at Bristol. Again, you thought Daytona was chaotic. Take Daytona and shove it into a box that is a fifth of the size, the World Center of Racing, and that's what you have here in Bristol. There will be racing all over the speedway in multiple different lines across this racetrack. You talked about the progressive banking there just a little bit, Austin. This place is as crazy as it gets for these Gen 7 race cars. And of course, tonight qualifying is underway for the guys onto the racetrack as they take a time and put themselves on the grid as we get ready to go green flag racing at Bristol in just one moment. But before we do, let's talk about how this race will be formatted. Austin, it's not a very long one tonight, as opposed to what we may have expected from Bristol. A bit of a sprint at Bristol Motor Speedway here this evening.
Yeah, that's right, Dawson. Not a very long race at all. And also, you got to consider that laps here are under 20 seconds, so it goes by really, really quick. It's also a very rhythm-based racetrack, so if you have a mistake, any issue at all, it's going to mess you up for multiple laps. So many things that go into this place. Obviously, 2 pit roads. That's something you'll have to keep in mind if we see green flag pit stops. And then, of course, once we get into lap traffic, Dawson, that is another big deal. We talk about it being a shorter race, but with this track only being a half a mile, lap traffic will definitely still come into play.
It's absolutely going to come into play, and it's come into play so many times in the real-life races here on the sim racing platform as well. Knowing how much it means to stay on the lead lap here and be around at the end certainly is going to make things very interesting for the drivers in the field tonight. Many of the drivers tonight are ones that you've seen throughout the season so far. Of course, let's recap the season for you as we get ready to go green tonight from Bristol. Daniel Eberhardt won at Daytona in a photo finish, which we thought was going to be the best battle to the end of the season. It was immediately one-upped in Fontana as we had a great battle for the final 30 laps there. It resulted in Garrett Maines going to victory lane in virtual upstate California just a couple of weeks ago. Let's get into the point standings as we head here into Bristol in race number 3 and talk about where drivers are running in the standings as we get ready to go into the final 3 races of this championship format. It's a bit of a sprint in that format as well, in that this is only a 5-race season as compared to a NASCAR schedule that would be 36 races. Here coming into tonight, no margin for error, knowing only 3 races remain. Austin, you see there the top 5 separated by just 6 points, the top 10 by 22 points, coming into a race as chaotic as Bristol.
And for Daniel Eberhardt, he got a great jump, right? Because he gets the win at Daytona. You know he's going to be good as we go to the more technical tracks. So he finds himself, I think, in pretty good position coming into this race. Obviously, everybody going to be chasing Garrett Maines, and it looked like there's a chance he may be inside the top 2 for qualifying. He was putting down some heaters through practice. But you got to still keep your eye on guys like Andre Castro, Jordi Lopez, even Michael Sturgill. Again, still chasing after those top 3, but at the same time, Dawson, we saw Castro and Lopez be right in the battle in Auto Club, and they were just as close to winning as Garrett Maines and Malik Ray were as they battled at the front near the end.
Well, that's what we talk about with that margin of error being so small coming into tonight, and with it being a track like Bristol where one wrong moment, one thing can go wrong in your race, whether it's on pit road, whether it's on the racetrack, on a restart. One very minor thing can snowball so quickly at Bristol and turn into some serious chaos for you in the point standings. Let's talk about the most positions gained bonus as well. You see those standings there. Also, a sizable advantage there at the top of those standings. Of course, James Waring took that lead out of Daytona, but it's changed hands here coming to Bristol.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously a big prize with that, of course, the opportunity to get to do the NASCAR drive-along experience at any track of your choice. And Dawson, I know we've got some special guest interviews later with a lot of the ERA-related crew, so looking forward to hearing more about that from them. But, you know, really Bristol, I think, is one of those tracks where you could certainly be a hard charger, but at the same time, track position is so king here. You do not want to find yourself late in this race and buried in the field. Now, with that in mind, Dawson, obviously, these next-gen cars, a lot faster than what we see in, say, the Truck Series or O'Reilly Auto Parts Series here. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to affect the drivers through the race tonight.
Yeah, this Gen 7 car, so aero-dependent, so tire-dependent as well. And I am so curious, especially after the horsepower updates that this car received a couple of weeks ago, how exactly this track is going to race. Of course, we have not yet had the official series come to this racetrack quite yet. That's coming up here next week, leading in, of course, to the real-life Bristol races on April 10th through the 12th. So this is really some of the first impressions a lot of these drivers are going to get, some of the first impressions that we are going to get into how these cars will race heading into that. A couple of housekeeping notes here before we get under the green flag tonight from Bristol. A couple of drawing winners to tell you about. For some Speed Pass members winning some prizes here this week. The winner of the Pioneers eSport team jerseys, drawing a pair of them, Devin Lyons and Jake Booth. Congratulations to them. I want to congratulate the winners of some VIP pit passes for this weekend in Rockingham. Such a fun weekend, by the way, that NASCAR is going back to Rockingham. So many big storylines, by the way, this weekend as well. We'll get to hear about some of those here in just a little bit when this race gets underway. I want to congratulate the winner of that, Edwin Investor, and Edwin is going to win those passes. Looking forward to Rockingham. What a weekend that's going to be, by the way. Coming up this weekend, of course, we talk about some of the big storylines. We'll talk to one of the drivers in the field driving a car sponsored by ERA this weekend, Alex LeBay. We'll talk to him in just a little bit when this race gets underway. But of course, some other big storylines, Austin, including Cletus McFarland making his O'Reilly Series debut at Rockingham as well.
Yeah, and a lot of fans, of course, going to be tuning into that race for Cletus McFarland, and we'll see what he can do in the Richard Childress racing machine. Always seem to bring fast cars to the real-life track, so we'll see what Cletus can do over there. On the virtual side of things, Dawson, we've been talking a lot about the season and the different variety of tracks for ERA. One thing, though, to keep in mind, now that we're kind of at that halfway point, championship prizes getting closer, $500 on the line for the winner. And points at the end of the season, 200 to second, 150 to third, 100 to fourth, and 50 to fifth. So obviously 3 seasons this year, Dawson, but for a lot of these drivers, they're hoping that they can have a shot at getting payouts in the first season of this new championship format.
I'll tell you what, Austin, I think it's fitting to bring up Tony Stewart at a place like Bristol. Of course, all the moments that he's had over his career, everyone remembers the helmet chuck, but he had a quote that I always like to bring up when we talk about championship payouts, and he once said that he would wreck his mom to win the Daytona 500. Well, what would you do to win $500? We're going to find out starting tonight. What better place to do it again than the last great Coliseum? So many times over the years, this place has seen last lap passes, tempers flaring, fenders going haywire at this place. Of course, again, I talked about Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth back in 2012. Since then, so many races here have ended with crazy finishes at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and tonight is sure to be another one. We are about 20 seconds from meeting the starters. Austin, real quick before we head trackside to meet the grid, who do you have your eyes on tonight at the last great Coliseum?
Man, listen, I'm always a guy who likes to pick the underdog, but in this case, man, I gotta think Garrett Maines is gonna be the favorite going into this one. He won last week in a sim rig that wasn't even his own. He's got a ton of momentum coming up from Auto Club, and we'll see if he can go back-to-back here in Thunder Valley tonight.
Well, the warm-up session is just getting concluded down track side. We are going to head track level and begin to work towards the green flag. Let's head down trackside as pre-race ceremonies are underway from the last great Coliseum as we get ready to meet the starters for tonight's ERA race number 3 of Season 1 in 2026. On the pole by virtue of his quick time in the qualifying session, it is the winner from Auto Club a few weeks back. It's Garrett Maines driving car number 2 on the timing and scoring. It'll be the all-blue number 1 for him tonight on pole position. To his outside, it'll be the one of Malik Ray. Ran well at Auto Club, ran well at Daytona, still searching for win number 1 on the season. He'll go from second. Row 2, it's Andre Castro, probably one of the most impressive drivers at Auto Club a few weeks back. Did not leave with a victory, but certainly caught the eyes of many of the drivers in the field. He will start from third. It's Wyatt Gray in the 45 having one of the best 3-month stretches we have seen a driver have in sim racing in a very long time. Of course, the PGR 500 winner back in February. Also a winner on the eNASCAR Coca-Cola qualifying series circuit already this year as well. He'll start from 4th tonight. Row 3, Cody Harris, an ERA winner in his own right from Daytona a couple of years back. Brennan Lyman will start to his outside in 6th, the guy we had our eyes on last week in Auto Club. Back on row number 4, and starting in the 7th position, it is going to be the Jacob Smetana machine on the inside of row number 4. It'll be Daniel Eberhardt that starts to his outside in the 8th position, and row 5 will be a pairing of Michael Sturgill Jr. and Brian Ewalt.
And Kenneth Oberlin going to start back in 11th. It's going to be Noah Rainwater to his outside in 12th. Back in row number 12, DeAndre Kane will start alongside Jacob Booth. We'll have to see those two do some work to get their way back towards the front of the field. And it's like we may be having a little pause here with the grid scrolling through, so we apologize for that. But we're going to keep reading through it anyway as you get back towards 14th and 15th. Again, Jacob Mazak on the inside of row number 8. Devins Baker to his outside in 16th. Brian Hennings, one of the VRX cars, will start 17th. Julian Ricky to his outside in 18th. Larry McDonald rolls off 19th, and the last man rounding out the top 20 for the starting grid tonight at Bristol is going to be Jacob Ballman in the 83 car.
Row 11 going to be Roland Lyman, in the Napa Ford Mustang. He'll go from 21st to his outside to be John Anderson in the U.S. Coast Guard, number 56 machine. Row 12 going to be Peter Smetana, another pair of Smetanas in this one as well. He'll go from 23rd. It's Christopher Heitz to his outside, the black, green, and pink 21 back in the field tonight. He'll go from 24th. Row 13 is going to be a couple of different drivers. Howard Strother going to be back there in the 86. And the grid messing up on my end now as well. That is going to be all the cars in the field. Actually, 25 will take a lap. But by the way, Howard Strother, Austin, is going to start from pit road. That's a bit of a bold strategy at Bristol. Likely he'll be a lap down. We go green here in about 1 lap's time.
Yeah, and anytime you have to pit here at Bristol, always the concern is, will there be a caution before everybody cycles through? That's what makes pit strategy so risky here. Obviously, if you go in and somebody stays out, you get that caution. A lot of times you find yourself trapped at least 1, if not 2 laps down. So it's something that we'll have to keep our eye on. For Garrett Maines, Dawson, and that number 1 Wiggins Water Technology machine starts on the pole. I think he's got a shot to go back-to-back here tonight.
He's looking to go back-to-back. That would be a big boost to his season if he can get another win in Bristol. The pace car will take the hard left onto pit road. It's time to go racing at the last great Coliseum. ERA Racing at Bristol is green.
Good jump out of the gate. The field going to be 2x2, already 3 wide further back, but it seems like everybody got off to a relatively clean start, as we had one car get up in the fence through 3 and 4, still 3 wide in the back. But for Garrett Maines, he leads everybody back down into turn number 1. Castro shuffles into 2nd, and it's Malik Ray in the sporty new colors, the number 8 machine, currently in 3rd. 2x2 further back, already on the move, Dawson. Here comes Daniel Eberhardt in the 90. He's already picked up 3 spots in the first 3 laps.
No surprise, the D3 is on the move in car number 90, the blue and white Ford Mustang, the winner from Daytona a few weeks back in the season opener. He's up to 5th already in that 90, wrapping the bottom of the racetrack the shortest way around. Some experimentation further back. Smetana is up on the outside lane. Cody Harris has worked up to the 2nd lane. I wondered how long it would take for guys to move off the bottom, trying to experiment. The question will be, how much tire are they burning down there, or rather up there in that 2nd lane? Harris continues to run up there for now. How much of those Goodyear Eagles will burn off that race car? A move from Sturgill on Smetana, not going to work. Now Lyman works up the banking, so we have trouble somewhere around the racetrack for Larry McDonald. He's experienced a problem in the 80. He's backwards against the inside wall and is towed to pit road in the orange and white Simu Cube Toyota Camry.
And that's a tough break early for Larry McDonald. Came into this race with high hopes. I'll tell you what, Dawson, I'm really shocked that did not bring out the caution. I know it was only one car, but he was stopped in the middle of the racetrack for a moment, and things can happen here quickly at Bristol, but that car gets cleared down to the pits, and we've actually got another car in the pits here early. That's the 83 of Jake Ballmain. So trouble for a couple drivers here within the first 10 laps. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Garrett Maines, they have already caught on to some lap traffic. Castro works through it. Now Malik Ray is trying to get by a couple of guys.
A couple of cars off the pace. We talked about Howard Strother. Actually, credit to our pit reporter, Tyler Vickery. It does appear that Strother lost connection during the grid period. That's a tough break for the 86, as he has already gone 1 lap down and is well behind the 8 ball early in this one. Maines away with the lead. Castro away with second. Then it's Malik Ray trying to hold off a charging Cody Harris. The red and gray 28 continues to be sporty early in this race, but they are chased by Daniel Eberhardt. As we look a little bit further back in the field, cars starting to work around the grooves, and I wondered how long it would take for guys to really start experimenting with their groove. Harris moved up first, but a number of cars have since moved up. We're looking at Oberlin there in the green 22.
Remember, in the sim here, it's not quite like real life where they can put down some special sort of compound to make one lane a little bit more grippy than the other. And, you know, now that we're in the nighttime here, Dawson, obviously track temp, a crucial factor in which lanes are going to run well here at Bristol. Under 80 degrees, so it is a very cool track. We talked about the progressive banking at the start of the broadcast, so the higher up you go, the more banking there is. But I just think after what we saw, especially last week, Dawson, with this car, it is all about saving tire. Everybody is on the same setup, so if you want to have an edge on the long run, you've got to have a little bit more grip than everybody else. The only way to do that, save your tires early on.
Not a whole lot of saving going on here at the front, at least not obvious saving. Daniel Eberhardt certainly is not saving in car number 90 as he continues to try to work forward. Actually, he's in the 20 tonight. I'm so used to seeing the 90 on the side of that race car. He's got the 20 aboard that blue, white, and black Ford Mustang Dark Horse up here towards the front of the field. White Gray dropped 2 spots early, but is stabilized. That's right behind this battle that you watch on your screen right now. That's where you'll find the 45 entry of Gray. Then it's Smetana. Then it's Sturgill up 2 spots for him so far. Brendan Lyman down 3. He was up on the outside trying to make it work as well. And then Noah Rainwater is inside the top 10 for the first time as well. Another of drivers are up spots. Devins Baker up 3. Christopher Heights up 6. Peter Smetana up 4. Howard Strother's actually gained 4 as well, as guys have experienced some issues early in the race. We talked about McDonald. We talked about Jake Ballmain. Jacob Mazak is now on pit road. Roland Lyman and Howard Strother both gone a lap down. Strother, though, has benefited pretty nicely off of some of the issues going on behind him. Quick onboard look there with Cody Harris, again an ERA winner at Daytona a couple of years ago. As he works on Malik Ray, this would be for 3rd. And he's knocking the door down, trying to knock the door down rather, because he's got Daniel Eberhardt beating on the back bumper of his 28. This is quickly becoming a very heated battle for 3rd as another car goes 1 lap down.
And for Cody Harris, this could be a breakout race for this season. Again, you just mentioned he's won before, but this season he's been there, but still looking for a little bit more if he wants to close in on the championship 3. And then obviously you talked about Daniel Eberhardt being there on his back bumper. One thing we haven't seen yet, and I'm pretty surprised, is contact. Right? I mean, for Daniel Eberhardt here, you got to start to think his caution is out for the first time here tonight. And this is going to be an issue, I believe, further back here, Dawson. The 14 slow on the apron. I'm not sure what happened to bring this one out.
It's going to be for Larry McDonald in the 80 machine. He had another issue in the SimuCube Toyota. He's got front-end damage aboard his machine now as he has once again gone to the pit lane. So that's going to be the reason for this first caution flag, as he has crashed to bring out the opening caution of tonight's race here just outside of lap number 15. So we'll start to get a look back at it, and it does look to me actually he's going to get plowed from behind. We'll get a replay look at this in a moment. He was trying to get off the racetrack and ends up getting jammed in from behind from a car coming on from behind him. Trying to figure out which car that was that sustained some pretty severe damage in that accident. It's the 14. There's no 14 on our timing and scoring, but it's the 14 on the side of the car. There actually is. It's Devins Baker.
Yeah, Devins Baker, huge damage. And this was a kind of an interesting setup. Obviously, we'll go back and get a replay in just a moment. One thing I will note, going to be very interesting to see how this affects strategy here early at Bristol. We'll show you an exact lap count on how much we think these guys can go on fuel here in just a little bit. But obviously, tires a big deal early, track position a big deal late. So I think obviously you want to maybe try to go in, get some stuff now, knowing that a long run is possible. I mean, we just ran 20 laps to start the race green. That's not something that happens too often here at Bristol, but you talk about Larry, obviously Dawson having that issue earlier, a tough break to start. This one, you know, an issue for a couple of cars. And I know we'll go back and look at it, but it just seemed like for the 14, they were kind of one of those scenarios where, you know, things happen so quick at Bristol here that by the time you see a car wrecking, you just don't really have much time to stop.
I always like to tell people that Bristol is magnified version of a bigger track where something can happen a certain speed at, again, a Daytona or even a Michigan or an Auto Club or a Kansas, a cookie cutter mile and a half. You take it to Bristol, and it feels like that happens about 3 times as fast, is what I always like to tell people. A guy is coming off the racetrack, where at Kansas or Michigan, you have plenty of time to try to maneuver and plenty of space. At Bristol, it's cramped. It's a lot faster. Everything, you're moving so fast around this racetrack that everything happens at warp speed. And unfortunately there, it did look like Devins Baker committed to the bottom, and unfortunately got into the back of Larry McDonald. Now we're going to get a quick look at it here. There's the 80, the Simu Cube Toyota of McDonald. As he was up against the wall, you're going to see him have a bit of a problem here off the corner. Most people get by. One car gets into him there, and then it is the 14 of Baker that provides the big-time blow there for McDonald as he noses into the inside wall.
It just got a little bit loose. Get up in those marbles coming off at turn number 4, I believe that was, and actually turn number 2, rather, and just a tough break overall, but we're going to get ready to make this happen once again. First restart of the night, and it's going to be Garrett Maines and Andre Castro that lead us back into the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. We talked about the crazy start. This one, though, pretty tame overall. And once again, everybody shoots off clean into turn 1, but it's Garrett Maines who gets the lead on the backstretch.
And Maines drives away with the lead. Malik Ray, Cody Harris battling for third. Castro and Maines been the class of the field so far. They're too wide most of the way back. Everything's singling out pretty quickly. I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest with you, how quickly that things have singled out here at Bristol in both the early run and now this one. Smetana's going to file in behind Eberhardt in front of Sturgill. Harris is going to file in front of Malik Ray. And all of a sudden, it is single file all the way back from Garrett Maines all the way through the front end of the field. And with that being said, as we do go single file to the green flag, you're not going to miss a moment of the action, but we do want to get a chance to talk to a guy who's going to be racing here this weekend in the Real Life O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in car number 91, the ERA entry, which is actually going to feature the Speed Pass member names on the back end of the car. Of course, it's a guy who's been around the O'Reilly Series for a long time, also a winner in the Piney Series. We got a battle for the lead on the racetrack right now. Castro underneath Garrett Maines. But we do want to get a chance to talk to, again, a guy who's been around, for the Xfinity Series, the O'Reilly Series, also the NASCAR Piney Series. He's a winner there. The Canadian driver, Alex LeBay. We want to get a chance to talk to him as Garrett Maines and Andre Castro continue to battle one another for the lead. So let's see if we can't get a quick word with the driver of the 91 this weekend in Rockingham, Alex LeBay. Alex, it's the voice in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yep, got a copy.
Well, glad to have you with us here. Certainly grateful for you taking a couple of moments out of your time as these guys run around the last great Coliseum. Obviously a big weekend coming up for you guys over at ERA, getting to run this car this weekend that's got all the names on it. For a second, let's just talk about that. Let's start there. Talk to me about the opportunity to drive this car this weekend in Rockingham with the Speed Pass members' names on it, but to get to drive, for Jesse and for Matt, for all the guys at Jesse Wuji Motorsports and DGM Racing.
Yeah, first of all, big thanks to everybody at ERA. Like you're saying, Jim, Matt, and everybody that's been behind us. It's pretty fun. I mean, I haven't run as much as the intermediate tracks lately in the last couple of years, and it's really cool to get another opportunity to run at a pretty insane track like Rockingham. I've never been there. I mean, they repaved it last year, but it's gripped up, and I've run iRacing quite a bunch, and I've made my own works, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be pretty cool. We're going to carry some of the ERA members on the car. We're going to have them on the deck lid with us. It's going to be a pretty cool weekend to have everybody a part of it. I mean, I've been on the iRacing platform for a while, and to have that kind of support is going to be pretty special this weekend.
Well, let's segue into talking about the iRacing platform a little bit. Over the past, I would say 6 to 8 years or so, we've really seen iRacing grow into a resource, not only, for the guys that are trying to get into racing, but the guys that are already in it, and the race teams using simulation to get ready for each race weekend. Talk to me about how valuable the sim has been for you guys as drivers to prepare for real-life race weekends like the one you're going to attack this weekend in Rockingham.
Really, I mean, it's a really good tool. I mean, I don't think there's anything better. I mean, I'm definitely always watching a little bit of video on board and stuff like that, but I'd say 80% of my learning goes through iRacing, just running some laps. Especially for my first couple of years. My first year full time in 2018. That's where every week I would run a lot of laps on all the ovals, on all the road courses too. But I mean, like the physics and everything, it's just the layouts are so accurate. It's pretty crazy when you get to do it back to back and do it on the sim during the week, and then you get on the real track. It feels like you've ran like 25-30 laps before you actually hit the track. So it's definitely a big help, and it's fun. It's fun to see this league here growing, and the ERA NASCAR team with. I remember I watched Bobby Zelensky's. I'm wishing a really strong season. He's been a guy I looked up to, and even he's always been really strong on the road courses. I've always enjoyed the road courses. I think it's always been one of my strong suits too. So and iRacing was definitely a big help. I feel like the especially the new tracks we've been through, like the Roval and the Circuit of the Americas. That's really where I felt like it helped us get up to speed as quick as possible.
Alex, we want to thank you so much for your time here tonight. Grateful for you to take a few minutes to come and chat with us here while these guys rip around Bristol Motor Speedway. I want to wish you the best of luck this weekend at Rockingham and going forward as well throughout the season in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Thanks so much. Good luck at the Rock this weekend.
Thanks a lot.
What a fun moment to chat there with Alex LeBay. You saw Andre Castro go after Garrett Maines, and such a cool insight there, Austin, because we've all known iRacing for a long time. Myself, I've been on iRacing for around 15 years. But for the guys in the NASCAR circuit, it's kind of a new thing to get to prepare for races using the iRacing service, and obviously you heard Alex talk there about how valuable it's been. Such a cool resource for these guys, and ERA providing a huge opportunity for those guys to advance forward as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the point that he made about the tracks that are, maybe new for the first time, like when the Charlotte Roval first came out. Some of these tracks like Rockingham with the new repave, that these guys, their first chance to run it is going to be when they actually go to the track. Thankfully, though, iRacing laser scans all these tracks, and as a result, you can get a chance to practice on a simulation that, Dawson, I'll tell you what, we've been in the car here on iRacing before, and it certainly feels about as realistic as what I could imagine. And for Alex LeBay, obviously, hoping that he has a good run at Rockingham this weekend, and good to hear all his insight from what he's learned over the sim in his experience. I'll tell you what, though, back on the racetrack, you mentioned Garrett Maines in the battle between him and Andre Castro. These guys have caught some lap traffic, and this could contribute. They're 2 wide out ahead. One of those is the 14 who we saw involved in an accident earlier. The question's going to be here, how does Garrett Maines fare as they navigate this lap traffic?
Oh, Julian Ricky, that was a moment right there. Top end of your screen in the side-by-side angle as he slowed up off the corner right there and almost created an accident there off the corner right around the leaders that are running 1, 2, 3 nose to tail. Maines, Castro, and Cody Harris, who, by the way, Cody Harris is driven into this battle as well in the 28. He's now the back bumper of Castro, and that's the lap traffic that you were talking about earlier in the pre-race, Austin, how chaotic it can be when there's lap traffic on the speedway. The leaders are experiencing that right now in real time. Christopher Height's going to go 1 lap down. A gaggle of cars here in front of the leaders that they're going to have to negotiate.
Yeah, and it's just a product of green flag racing here. The more laps you run, the more cars that are going to eventually fall a lap down. For John Anderson here, he's next in line, and ooh, that checked Garrett Maines up at an awkward time. Castro's going to take a shot at him into turn 3. Not quite able to make the pass right there. He stays in line, but you've been watching these guys the last couple of laps, Dawson. It's really interesting here. It's almost like Castro trying to go just a lane or 2 lower on exit. That helps get him that big run down the straights, but even so, we mentioned with this car, dirty air is a factor, even at a track that's only a half a mile in length, because that's just how fast these guys are going here at Bristol. We'll see what Castro can do, and I wonder, these guys keep battling, Dawson, does that bring, maybe a guy like Daniel Eberhardt, Cody Harris back into the mix maybe?
Yeah, this is prime D3 vintage Daniel Eberhardt here tonight so far, as he is on the move as well. He got around Malik Ray a little while ago for 4th, and he's trying to drive back up to the leaders and put himself in position to maybe steal one away here tonight at the last great Coliseum, as he's again up to 4th, trying to run down Cody Harris. Hearing some more from our pit reporter downstairs, Tyler Vickery. Some drivers reporting the middle groove is just not gripping up very well. We heard about this for a couple of weeks now, that the dynamic track model on the iRacing service, which is essentially the model that allows the track to rubber up real time as you're racing, we've heard that there were some changes with it, and that it is dialed in getting grooves rubbered in and allowing drivers to run basically anywhere they want to over the course of, say, a 150-lap race. But tonight so far, the middle groove not running as well. Drivers have to pick either to wrap that yellow line the shortest way around or go to the outside wall and try to diamond the corner up the hill on either end of this racetrack.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense. I feel like obviously we haven't seen a lot of guys committing to the middle through the entirety of the corner, especially not early on in the race. And one thing we have seen, which was, of course, what Andre Castro was doing, was kind of entering in on the middle until you get about halfway through the corner so that you can arc it down to the bottom on exit. And that's where you, of course, get all that momentum. One thing that's so hard to do here, though, is trying to complete that pass on the inside. That top lane, so good for playing defense. And I really think if you're Castro here, I think him and Maines are really close, if not even. But as soon as Castro gets to him, he just cannot quite find a way to get by. And that makes me think that maybe one of these lap cars, if Castro or Maines can use as a pick, could be the difference in who either pulls away or tries to potentially get by that one car for the lead. 57 of 150 laps in the books. Dawson, they're going by quick. One thing we also heard from our pit reporter, Tyler Vickery, fuel not going to be a concern. The only question is, do you think these guys can stretch it over 100 laps on one set of tires?
Can they stretch it? Absolutely. Now, is it a smart idea, or, can you push the whole time? Absolutely not. And will the wear become a factor? Absolutely. And it's going to be who can manage those late run tires when you're getting down to the cords, who can manage that the best. And of course, in the real life circuit, we're not going to get to that point of tire wear tonight like we've seen over the last couple of races at the Bristol Motor Speedway, with tires coming off of cords and rubber working up against the safer barrier and all that kind of extreme conditions. We're not going to get to that point tonight. It'll actually be more like last year's spring Bristol race, where there will be wear, but there will not be quite as much as we've seen in those extreme circumstances. So for the guys running up front right now, what I'm noticing is a lot of them have worked up the hill as this race has gone. Maines, Castro, Harris, even Eberhardt, really starting to work up the racetrack and run middle to the top. By the way, Malik Ray has gotten back past Daniel Eberhardt. That was for 4th. As those two continue to battle their way through this race, most of the top 10 staying the same. The guy on the move is Brian Hennings. How about it for car number 74? He's up from 17th to 9th. Malik Ray, by the way, is on the move in the 8. We'll keep an eye on him as this second portion of this race continues. Another special guest coming to join us in the broadcast booth, and this one, actually, after we get done talking to him here for just a moment, is going to help us call this race for a little while. A guy with some broadcast experience, as we found out over the last couple of weeks. We're going to get to talk to the newest driver for ERA eSports this year in the Coca-Cola iRacing Series, and one of the most accomplished drivers in Series history, the Coca-Cola iRacing Series circuit. We're going to get to talk to Bobby Zelensky here in this second portion of the race. Bobby, it's the voice in the broadcast booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
We will get to you here in just 1 second. The caution's out on the racetrack, so let's talk about this first. Evans Baker having a problem in car number 13. So let's cover this really quickly, and then we'll bring in Bobby Zelensky here under this, the second caution of the night. Does look like it's only Baker that has gone for some kind of spin here on lap 64, with just under 100 laps to go. The leaders are going to be coming to pit road here momentarily for what I would imagine to be a set of Goodyear Eagles after some of the grip issues we were seeing for the guys up at the front of the field. So it does appear that it was Baker, and actually maybe Brian Ewalt, as we're hearing from our pit reporter downstairs, Tyler Vickery, that had a problem on this caution flag, as we will await a replay. Really quickly, before we get into really the meat of what we wanted to talk about, Bobby, obviously welcome to Bristol. A big moment for you as you've re-signed with ERA eSports, but getting to come back to Bristol, this is a place you guys obviously know very well, and it's a place that can test your temper, it can test your patience, and it can test your equipment as well.
Yeah, and it really tests the tires. I was noticing there on that long run, Malik was really taking care of his stuff. And I think he was one guy that didn't want to see that caution come out when it did, because he was starting to reel in those leaders. Yeah, it's a real trick going around here, because you don't know if it's going to be a short run race or a long run race, because it really matters how hard you push your tires early to try to grab a track position, and then maybe get a long run, and then all of a sudden those tires are gone.
We'll get ready to take a look here in just one moment at what happened on this, the second caution of the night. Before we do, obviously, Bobby, getting to drive for ERA eSports again here in 2026. You're seeking your first championship in the Coca-Cola iRacing Series, but you've known success for many years in the series. Talk about, first off, what it's like to be back with the ERA group here in 2026, what it's been like to kind of build that relationship as we look forward to 2026.
Yeah, for me it was just a no-brainer to continue with these guys. There's a lot of motivated people within the team that really care about winning and succeeding and growing everything. And I thought, why not keep that going? Why leave that? And got events like here, the ERA Omega Cup, got our NASCAR team, and things are just going in a positive direction.
Quickly, before we get to the rest of the conversation we're having, happy to have Bobby Zelensky with us here in the broadcast booth. We're about to go back green, though. Maines, Castro on the front row. Then it's Cody Harris and Malik Ray. Then it's Daniel Eberhardt and Jacob Smetana. Rest of the top 10, Michael Sturgill, Wyatt Gray, Brian Hennings, and Brennan Lyman. Keep an eye on Hennings, by the way. Still +8 for him. The man on the move so far, one of the biggest movers in the field. Peter Smetana, the only one who's moved more, +10 for him. So the green flag going to come back out here just around the halfway mark of this one. Only 150-lap sprint. Maines off and running. Castro got a good start as well. The battles for third, Ray and Harris. And that's going to be the curious thing here about Malik Ray. We know what he was doing on the short run, or the long run rather, a moment ago. Can you replicate that on the short run? We know how fast the 28 of Harris has been on that. It singles out pretty quickly again. Mostly a one-groove race so far. It started on the bottom and worked up to the outside lane of the racetrack. Well, moving on now, obviously, moving into a season here in the Coca-Cola iRacing Series, but you've been around ERA for a long time, Bobby, and talk about what this league can do for your exposure as a sim racer and what it can do to gain you opportunities, obviously getting to be on the big-time iRacing broadcast, getting to be in these big events. As the caution flag comes out again, we'll address that in just 1 second. This is actually a considerable incident, so hold that thought, as this is a multi-car pileup. Wyatt Gray, Jacob Booth, Brennan Lyman, Noah Rainwater all appear to be involved in this one. And damage around the racetrack here just past the lap 70 mark. So the first big incident of the night is going to capture a number of them here on lap 70. We'll get to a replay of that in just a moment. While we wait for that replay, Bobby, back to you. ERA, what it can do for you as a sim racer. Talk about the impact that it's had, not only on your sim racing career, but what you've seen overall for the league as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, myself, since 2022, participated in many events here. But the barrier of entry is just, hey, show up, get a part of the program, and race, right? It's open to everybody. It's much more accessible than what you see with like eNASCAR Coke Series and stuff. If you got the juice, you can come race and compete and be in front of a good audience, make some money, and it's overall like stuff like this needs to exist. And I'm glad it does, and it's going in a good direction.
Obviously glad to have you with us here tonight as well. And obviously with about 30 laps till the 100 lap mark, why not stick around with us here, call some of this race. We did just have a caution flag, a bit of a stack up there with Wyatt Gray and company. We'll bring back in my broadcast partner now, Austin Green. We'll kind of call this thing radio style over the next 30 laps. Myself, Austin, and Bobby Zelensky joining you from Bristol. Austin, a caution flag right there, a multi-car incident. Wyatt Gray, Brennan Lyman, and others involved.
Yeah, and it just looked like the 78 of Lyman was trying to get to his inside. I don't think that was intentional. But the first use of the back bumper, the front bumper, I should say, to the back bumper of Wyatt Gray right there. There's the onboard view of the 78. Right as they get to the center of the corner, not sure if he was just rolling more speed or didn't expect the 45 to check up, but man, as soon as he gets to him, it turns wide around, and he got clobbered in the back from the 14. That was actually Devins Baker, who we saw in a similar incident earlier. And this Dawson now the first of 2 multi-car accidents we've had here tonight. It seems like the aggression and more of what we expect here from Bristol start to pick up.
Yeah, absolutely. Aggression level going up the closer we get to the end of this race. Obviously just short of the halfway mark. Still a ways to go. Bit of a stack up there on the bottom side of turn 3. Bobby, obviously you've been in this situation a number of times. What did you see out the front bumper there that caused this second caution of the night?
A lot of the racing here, you're kind of predicting what that car right in front of you is going to do because the corners are so quick and they're short corners. So I think it was just like a miscalculation from behind getting into his bumper. He thought Wyatt was going to get on the gas and he just quite didn't, and that just happens. Honestly, it's tough.
We're getting ready to go back green, just short of halfway. In fact, halfway, 1 lap after this restart. 76 to go, 75 on the board. It's been the Garrett Maines, Andre Castro, and Cody Harris show to this point. One of those 3 go to victory lane. Find frustration overwhelm them. Green flag back in the air. Maines off and running again. He's been awfully good on the restarts tonight. Castro paced him on the last one. Not so much this time. Harris to the inside for second. Outside benefits here off of turn 2. Harris down to block, Castro down to block Harris for second as Malik Ray attacks Harris. That's for third.
Been watching Malik and Harris here over the last couple of restarts. These guys are starting to get a little bit more at each other. You can definitely tell they are racing really, really hard for that 3rd spot. And for Harris here, it's going to be hard to make it stick. Too many laps. Malik Ray is going to get that big run on the outside down the front stretch. And the 8 car all but cleared. Daniel Eberhardt behind those 2, hoping they'll sort it out. We got another almost spinner. Whoa, what a save from Brian Hennings. Oh my goodness, the 74 car went for probably one of the longest slides we have seen all season over in turn 1 and 2. He manages to hold on and keeps it going. And as we stay up front, you're now on board here with Daniel Eberhardt, and you can see the focus and the concentration. Bobby, we've seen this before. I got to think these cars are more intense than any of the other series with how fast these guys are going around here.
Yeah, especially with the dirty air effects both in front of you and behind you here on iRacing. Especially when someone gets right up on your rear bumper, you lose a bit of rear downforce with the current draft model and aero model. So being in, honestly, Garrett's spot right now, he kind of likes it when the car in second kind of goes up to the middle in the center of the corner. It actually gives him a bit of more rear downforce in the center, but that is one tool that you can use as a following car to kind of mess that guy in front of you up.
Taking here off the spoiler, we see that trying to happen up front with Castro and Maines as they continue to battle. Really good onboard shot, by the way, there with D3. Daniel Eberhardt trying to go after Cody Harris. Another good run for Eberhardt tonight, keeping himself in the championship conversation with only two races to go in this first season. Up front, it is heating up for the race lead. Castro to the back bumper of Garrett Maines, trying to get the air off the spoiler, trying to work a different line. Has not yet had success. He'll fall a car length or a car length and a half back. But looming behind them, and the guy I want to continue to pinpoint, is the one of Malik Ray. These two up here focused on each other. Malik Ray runs third in that orange, white, and black number 1. He is looming in the shadows, and if the last run is any indication, that car comes to life at about the final 20 laps of these tires.
You heard Bobby make a good point about this earlier, that Malik, he's so good at saving tires, and obviously so crucial here. We haven't had a run long enough yet to, I think, really kind of show the strength of when you actually do that, but we'll have to see if it happens here as we get closer towards the end of this race. Still a long ways to go, well over 50 laps, but as it stands right now, those two guys up front, Maines and Castro, battling hard as caution out once again. I think this time it's going to be for another issue that happens further back.
Yeah, getting some indication it might be the Roland Lyman car that's involved in this one, the 12. He had gone multiple laps down in this race already. He has jumped to the pit lane, so I have to imagine that something has gone on with the 12 here on the racetrack to bring out the second caution. Actually, no, looking back, it might be the John Anderson car in the 56. Another couple of cars getting a piece of this one as well, but it is Anderson's car that brings out the caution flag here for the second time. A couple of cars piling into this, by the way, including a couple of lead lap machines that were working around the 56 of Anderson. Anderson was already one lap down. Jake Balmain is in it. Roland Lyman is in it. There was one other car involved as well. So a few cars involved. Another multi-car accident on lap 86 is going to send us back to the caution period with Garrett Maines still out in front of the field. And, you know, as we get into kind of this later portion of the race, it becomes a bit of a mental game. And, you know, Bobby, you're in the cockpit of the race car. How do you manage the mental side of Bristol? Obviously, the physical side is so trying as it is. How do you manage the mental side of it here as we get into these late race restarts that we expected to see?
Yeah, it's tricky now because, I mean, I've been noticing Malik. He's a really smart driver, and he's been in third. He basically kind of sets his pace back a little bit, lets those leaders kind of get away and saves his stuff. But eventually, if we keep having cautions, like, you have to go up there and start racing because that tire wear offset just gets smaller and smaller when we have less opportunity for a really long run. So that's really the mental side of it, is like, when do I push? When do I try to make moves? Because I know I'm going to be using some of my tire to do that, but I want to get up there to first. You know, like Garrett has the advantage right now. He is in the lead, but as long as, you know, he has a car right behind him in that kind of 2/10 bubble, he can't really get away. So Garrett's really trying to just break that bubble, is at least how I always kind of feel as a driver. And if he can do that, he'll be golden. But as long as someone's within a 10th or 2 of his bumper, it kind of keeps them attached in a way.
Looking at that replay, guys, it looked like from that point of view, the 56 machine just getting loose coming off of turn 2. We've seen that a couple of times tonight. That was, again, John Anderson. Here's what it looked like from Cody Harris's point of view. I'm not sure if he was able to see it from his angle, but the point I was getting ready to bring up is definitely getting treacherous as you get towards the high side of the racetrack, coming off the corners here. And we've seen a couple issues with that, and that was another incident that collected multiple cars. We saw Mazak. He got a piece of that one, had nowhere to go. Looked like Roland Lyman right at the end had some contact, and I think we're starting to see the back quarter to back half of this field really feel the wear and tear of Bristol. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, though, for Garrett Maines and Andre Castro, these two have been going at it all night, and I think that trend's going to continue for the rest of this race.
We are just about to the lap 90 mark, closing in on 60 laps to go already at Bristol. This one is a sprint more than a marathon tonight. Green flag back in the air. Maines off and running. He's been so good on the race starts so far tonight. That'll bring Malik Ray to the inside of Andre Castro, a new challenger for car 34 here at the front. Castro, so good in that middle lane on this restart, on the restart so far tonight. He'll jump back to second. Ray will hold off Eberhardt for third. Harris may drop from third all the way to fifth behind Eberhardt and Malik Ray after both of those cars attack him on the restart. Smetana trying to attack him as well. That continues to be the side-by-side battle. That's Eberhardt in the fourth spot. Harris in the fifth spot. That continues to be that two-wide battle. Now, something else I wanted to talk about a little bit while we had Bobby Zelensky up here. Bobby, we saw the horsepower update to this car. We've gone to the new short track package, shorter spoiler, a little bit more horsepower. You talked about some of the changes already. You know, the looseness off turn 2, a little bit of the grip changes. Does the horsepower have something to do with that?
Here,
I know
Dawson.
and there's trouble.
Sorry to cut you guys off here real quick, but I saw I believe it was the 74 here of Hennings. It looked like he started to get loose as they were going through 3 and 4, went around. Surprised it did not bring out the caution. And so we'll have to go ahead and see what happens here in just a moment. We'll get a replay of it momentarily, but man, I'll tell you what, a lot of chaos here. I'm not sure if, race control said, hey, if it's not going to affect the rest of the field, we're going to keep it clean and green, but this has certainly not changed the battling up front. Garrett Main still leads the way, Andre Castro second, and tell you what, Bobby, obviously we are seeing a lot of action picking up late. Are some of these guys just starting to push the car a little bit too much, or is it more so that mental aspect that Dawson talked about earlier?
Yeah, specifically that loose condition you see guys having off of the corners, it's because of that less rear downforce, honestly. Because if you push tight, it just bites you even more than it ever did before, where it just goes from push tight to just snap loose. And that is kind of part of that last caution, what happened. You see Andre really pushing hard to get to Garrett. You saw he went low to try to pass him, and it just didn't quite work. So another aspect of the higher horsepower, less downforce, is you're seeing the middle line work a lot better than it did maybe a couple months ago when there was more downforce and you can kind of rip that yellow line. Yellow line's still going to be best for your tires, but that middle is just really going well so far in this race.
We're seeing the replay of the Brian Hennings incident there on the side-by-side, and I'm actually just as surprised that doesn't draw the caution, as he is backwards across cars in the field, and the caution flag does stay furled. So a tough break for Brian Hennings. Fortunately for him, he'll lose a ton of track position. Looks like Howard Strother Jr. may have just had an incident right in front of the leaders as well. He's about to go another lap down in the 86, and now the caution flag is drawn. Here, just past lap 95, trouble. Harris is around right at the front of the field. The 28 of Cody Harris, one of the dominant cars of the night, as he is around on lap 99. That's not the caution flag. The caution flag was elsewhere, but Harris collected in the secondary.
Yeah, and it looked like Daniel Eberhardt there may have just been so focused on the action ahead, didn't even realize how quickly that 28 machine checked up, and that's a tough break for Harris. Be very curious to see how much damage he got there from when he got to the inside wall. Dawson, everybody talks about it too. When there's a caution here, really any racetrack, you don't want to just slam on the brakes, especially when everybody's running this tight. Looked like maybe a little bit of a chain reaction, and I think Cody Harris just kind of the unfortunate victim, if you will, right there. Nothing Daniel Eberhardt did wrong, and I know we'll go back and look at it as a replay, but certainly tough to get caught up in an incident when it's really not even the cause of the caution.
Being told Brian Ewalt is the cause of the caution here, the 11, the Mountain Dew Ford Mustang. So we'll go back and take a look at what brought out the caution flag, as he has gone for another spin over in turn 1 here just past the 100 lap mark. So it's Ewalt that goes around. Of course, Cody Harris right there catching some damage, and that's going to cost him a considerable amount of track position. He drops from the 4th spot back to the 12th position on the racetrack right now. The lucky part for him, a number of cars had gone 1 lap down. He was able to come down pit road, address the damage, and address the tires. There's the spin for Ewalt. This one draws the caution right about there when he starts to come back into the racing groove. Hennings goes around, no caution, but Ewalt kind of gets beached there in the corner, and that is what draws the yellow flag as cars are still rushing on.
It was an interesting spot, too. I mean, I think that definitely does a good job of showing you just how much banking there is here at Bristol to see that car kind of get stuck on that transition from the apron to the banking. But we ride on board here with Daniel Eberhardt. This was the incident after the caution. You see he checks up so quickly. Eberhardt just not quite able to stab the brakes quick enough. Gets into the back of that 28. Harris goes down into the inside wall. The good news is, looks like for Harris here, he is still out on the racetrack. Well, no, unfortunately, it looks like he is going to potentially take it down to the pits now. I take it back. He did go to the pits, but he is still out on the racetrack somewhere near the front. So, looks like he got it cleaned up. But at this point in the race, Bobby, I got to ask as a driver, what lap are you thinking if we get a caution, I'm not going into pit regardless of how worn out these tires are?
Well, it just got really interesting because Wyatt Gray, Cody Harris are a couple guys that just pit for tires, and there's only, 13, 14 cars in the lead lap. Watch out for them on this restart, because if we go green all the way, one of them is winning.
We'll see. Garrett Mains and Andre Castro, Malik Ray, Daniel Eberhardt have been some of the best cars all night long, but we talk about the opportune time to come and get Goodyear Eagles. And Wyatt Gray and Cody Harris make the right call. Green flag inside of 50 to go. Mains off and running again. Another great restart for the Wigan Water Technologies Toyota. Battle for second. Ray and Castro. Castro wins the battle again. Ray attacking on the bottom, pushing a little more than what we've been used to out of that number 8 so far in this race. Earlier on, he seemed to be more towards the saving. Now, putting some pressure on the back bumper of both Castro and Maines. Work off turn 4 once again, or rather off turn 2. Maines, Castro, Ray in line, Eberhardt looms. And the cars to watch are Harris in 9th and Gray back in the 11th spot.
And it feels like a carbon copy of what we saw last week late in the race at Fontana. The top 3 still going at it. Malik Ray 3rd, Andre Castro 2nd, and Garrett Maines continues to lead the way right now. Further back, we're going to get another caution here. This one a multi-car incident once again. Over in turn 3, Harris is involved once again, the 83. He is slow. We've also got maybe some damage on the 74 Hennings. It looked like he got up into the outside wall. And so this will be our 6th caution here of the night. And it comes within 50 laps to go. So now all of a sudden, I think it becomes a lot more important. I know we'll get a replay in just a moment, but Bobby, obviously you said keep your eye on Wyatt Gray and Cody Harris. Harris going to have, more of a struggle now. He'll have to lose track position as a result of this caution. But for a guy like Wyatt Gray, does this caution help or hurt him?
Well, he was also involved in it. The 2 guys that didn't need a caution were involved in the caution. So I was watching Wyatt Gray there. He actually took 2 rights, which is usually almost as good as 4, but he was way too loose with the 2 tires and was actually just struggling. He put it in the wall once I watched. So yeah, I think that advantage they had is just gone now. So now we're kind of back to square one. When do all these group of leaders want to pit to take tires? Right now, it's kind of obvious. Just keep staying out because there's not a ton of laps on those tires. But if we get another maybe 15, 20 lap run here and then pit and then have that caution, I think these guys will probably all pit.
All 3 of the cars that took tires under that last caution are involved here on this one. The 3rd car that we forgot to mention there on the restart was Michael Sturgill. He, Cody Harris, and Wyatt Gray all receiving damage under this 6th caution of the night. Now, Sturgill stayed out. He's in the 7th spot. Harris and Gray both came to pit road to the attention of their crews to get some damage repaired under this, the 6th caution flag of the night. We'll get a quick look at it here. Harris up into the car. They were 3 wide over there with Sturgill, Harris, and the 22 machine of Kenneth Oberlin. It was Harris that went around. Some damage there with the 83 of Jake Ballmain. Man, a bad night gone worse for him as he gets collected in this as well. And you see right there, perhaps Harris came up on the 22 of Oberlin a little faster than he thought he was going to there. A bit of a tire difference, a bit of a speed difference there off turn 2, and that leads to catastrophe for Harris, Gray, and Michael Sturgill. Actually, Sturgill's damage we're seeing here is going to come from the 2nd incident with Julian Ricky as he got spun up towards the front of the field off the bumper, or rather off the spin, and then Sturgill got into him with the front bumper of his car. We'll get ready to go back green with 40 to go. Bobby Zelensky, I want to thank you for your time joining us in the booth here for a few minutes. Get to call some of this race with us here at Bristol. Best of luck this year in the Coca-Cola iRacing Series, and we'll see if we're seeing you in victory lane here very soon.
Appreciate it, guys.
I want to thank Bobby Z for his attendance to tonight's race, getting to spend some time with us up here in the broadcast booth and get to talk to us about what he's got going this year. Of course, driving for ERA eSports and also what he's done with ERA in the past. Green flag back in the air. We are inside of 40 laps to go now. As actually we will tick 40 laps to go on the board. Another good restart for Maines Trouble. Around goes Andre Castro right in front of the field. This will draw the caution. One of the 2 best cars on the speedway gets turned right in front of the field, and collected is Jake Ballmain.
Castro lucky to not get clobbered, but that's going to be huge implications for the 34 car throughout the rest of this race. He is going to lose a ton of track position. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to try to make it all back up. A little bit of damage there on the right side of his Chevy Camaro. Scraped up a bit on the paint scheme. Otherwise, though, again, got away pretty unscathed. Normally, when you spin out here at Bristol, you're either hitting something or you are getting hit by somebody. And not really too much of the case there for Castro. That was another close call for the rest of the field. And, Dawson, most of the chaos so far has been out back. But I think now that we're getting late race, these guys up front just start to push the cars a little bit more and more. A little bit less give and more take, and sometimes that can lead to these issues, which is going to bring out what is now our 7th caution here of the night.
Well, and I think Bobby Zelensky was talking about it a little bit too, as guys try to find that line of when to push that race car. Right there, Castro tries to gas it up. It might just be a few seconds early. He spins it sideways and comes back down. He was jackknife across the field. He does get a pretty considerable hit there from the 83 of Jake Ballmain, which is what I caught just at the end of this. I actually thought it was more of a glancing blow than it was. What a job by Daniel Eberhardt to somehow miss the 34 of Castro. Another couple of cars bail out of the way. That's Ewalt and Harris. And a couple of others. Jacob Booth may have been the other car, or Noah Rainwater, one of the two, that somehow bail out of the way of Andre Castro. You're on board with him now. You'll kind of hear what I'm talking about as he goes to gas up off the banking of turn 2. The tires do not grab the racetrack, and this is the most helpless feeling as a driver at Bristol. Nowhere to go for Jake Balmain as he gets into the side of Andre Castro. So Castro now has to rebound in the 34. Plenty of time to do it from the tail end of the lead lap, trying to get back to the front for Jake Balmain. A tough night continues to get tougher. Just outside of 35 laps to go, Garrett Maines continues to lead the way over Malik Gray, Jacob Smetana, Daniel Eberhardt, and Michael Sturgill. As we enter the final stage of this race, one more special guest in the broadcast booth with us tonight. Not only a co-owner of ERA eSports and the eRacing Association, but a co-owner of DGM Racing with Jesse Iwuji Motorsports. Happy to be joined tonight by Jesse Iwuji. My partner Austin Green stands by as we get ready to go back green with 36 to go.
Well, hey Jesse, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Well, man, it's so good to have you in here. I mean, the resume throughout the sim racing career. Of course, you played Division I college football at the Naval Academy, then became a naval officer. You've raced multiple times in both the Truck Series and then what is, of course, now the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. And you made ERA. You were a big part of this series starting up and so much over the last couple of seasons. It's good to have you back. First question I got to ask, were you able to catch some of the past races, and what have you seen so far this season that you've liked?
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having me on. And yeah, you know, the races have been pretty good, and we've changed up the format going into 2026 because we wanted to give the drivers a little bit more variety, right? We have these, 3 seasons that we're working on for this year, 5 races each season, and we wanted to kind of have this championship format, which has been pretty cool and pretty fun to watch. And these drivers are definitely getting after it at all these different tracks. But we look forward to continuing to, make some more variety out of it, especially going into season number 2, where we're going to have different vehicles. We're going to be doing a lot more super speedways and giving more people an opportunity to win. So I'm looking forward to the future of ERA.
Yeah, absolutely a lot of exciting things ahead. Now let's talk about the actual racing here that we saw on track just for a moment. Obviously, you've raced on both sides of it, the sim and in real life. What is it that makes a track like Bristol so difficult, especially in a car like the Next Gen?
I mean, Bristol is just, it's a fun place to be at, right? It has that almost college football type feel, being in a stadium, in that bowl, going in there and just driving into those corners and battling it out, just like the Coliseum that it is. But it's a place that requires a lot of patience as well. People are going to be in your way no matter what. Not everybody is the same speed. The person who's in P1, is a different speed than the person who's in, P whatever else. Like, everybody's a different speed. Everyone's coming up on each other all race long. Patience is absolute key, because at the end of the race, in order to win, you got to first finish. And we got another wreck here.
Yeah, we got trouble, guys. Gray. We got a couple of cars around. It's Wyatt Gray in the 45 as he got into Andre Castro. Actually, Castro was on his horse trying to get through the field right there as you guys were talking, and unfortunately there for Wyatt Gray, he's got considerable damage. The PGR 500 champ and a winner in the qualifying series this year. This likely will be the end of his contention to win this one here just outside of 25 laps to go as we get ready to watch a replay. Again, this is back around Andre Castro. I was keeping an eye on Castro as he worked through the field, but as he got to Wyatt Gray, they made some contact there on the exit of the corner, and it just did not end well for the 45 as he works around with some damage on his race car.
This is about the 3rd incident in a row that Cody Harris has also been a part of, kind of in the secondary portion of that incident, if you will. He also got collected there with Brian Hennings, so that led to that 74 car getting a little bit of damage as well. Boy, I'll tell you what, Wyatt Gray and Cody Harris, just a couple of restarts ago, these two were going to be the favorites to try to win the race, and it has just not gone their way in any form since that point. 8 cautions so far tonight, but we're going to be getting down to crunch time here, Dawson, and all of a sudden it starts to seem like a lot of the field may be running out of time to get to the front.
Well, Andre Castro included, although he's going to benefit pretty nicely there from the crash in front of him. He's actually going to be 6th on my timing and scoring as we get ready to go back green. We'll show you a replay of the incident here. Castro is actually going to make some contact with the car right behind Wyatt Gray, and it shoots that car off into the corner. That's Booth in the 19. It shoots him off into the corner faster than he wants to go. He tries to jump in the brakes, and unfortunately for Wyatt Gray, he's a bystander there. Gets turned and receives some pretty severe damage on his 45. Another look at it here. Watch the contact between Booth and Castro going into turn 1. There's that contact. Booth drives in there a lot harder than he wanted to. Gets into the left rear quarter panel of Gray, and Cody Harris, nowhere for him to go either. So for Gray and Harris, they have been bounced around like you talked about after taking those tires. A tough break for both of them. We'll see their races take another turn for the worse here with 25 to go.
And it looked like there for Booth, he just got a little tight, maybe clipped the outside wall. That's what kind of darted him down into the 34. But as we set up to get back to green flag racing here, Dawson, Garrett Maines, again, has led just about every single lap so far here tonight. But Malik Ray, big opportunity here. He'll line up on the outside of row 2. And I'll tell you what, we got a couple things to be watching for the guys further back. But in terms of cars that are, still in the running, it has been brutal so far here tonight. And you look at the guys that are still on the lead lap, only 16, actually make that 14 cars left on the lead lap here.
So it'll be 25 to go here from Bristol. Continues to be Garrett Maines and Malik Ray on the front row. Peter Smetana, Michael Sturgill now 3rd and 4th. Remember the tire advantage that Sturgill has over the leaders here. Julian Ricky, Andre Castro 5th and 6th. Remember Castro repaired some damage and got a new set of tires. Kenneth Oberlin 7th, DeAndre Kane 8th. Then we want to talk about Jacob Smetana, Daniel Eberhardt, Brian Ewald. They're all on fresh tires, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Chris Heitz is the other car on fresh tires in 13th. 25 to go at the last Great Coliseum. Green flag back in the air. Maines off and running. Top lane stacks up behind Malik Ray as he was not on the memo to get on the gas pedal. That's going to give Peter Smetana a chance to run second. Ray crosses over. He wants the spot back in 3. Austin, we'll pass it back over to you with Jesse Iwuji.
Well, we've got more trouble out back here. It's not going to draw the caution, but it was Brian Ewald who went around once again. So we'll stay green. And yes, want to bring Jesse back in here. One thing I've been watching a lot of tonight, Jesse, that I think relates to kind of the new format that ERA has structured this season is the guys who've been able to take care of their cars, well, really not only tonight, but so far in the 3 races we've had this season are the ones at the front and the ones running highest in the championship standings. We know that the payouts this year, different from the past, are going to be awarded at the end of each season. Tell us a little bit about the mindset behind that and how maybe it could relate to the kind of racing we see in real life and where consistency is so king.
Well, that's the key. Consistency is everything, right? We wanted to figure out a way to have everyone be a bit more engaged throughout the year, right? Having only just 4 big events each year was definitely pretty fun, and it was awesome, right? It's like almost having like 4 chili bowls like they do in dirt racing like each year. But we wanted to spread it out a little bit more and just add a different flair to it, right? I think, as a company, if we continue to just do the same thing over and over and over, at some point, people might just get bored of it. So we figured, hey, let's try something different. Let's try something new. Obviously, the payouts have changed, but we're looking to eventually up them as time goes on because we're trying new things and just trying to find different ways to make sure that this is, one, financially, viable, right? We want to make sure that we're giving away great prize money, doing all that, but we want to make sure that we, stay in business, right? At the end of the day, you got to have the cash there to be able to do what we're doing. But I think with how we're doing it and what we've been able to do for the sim racing community since 2020, I'd have to look back on how much money we've given away, but we've given away 20, 30, 40, I don't know, so a lot of thousands of dollars. And we want to keep doing it. Eventually, our goal is to eventually have $100,000 payouts. Like, that's where we want to get to. We're not there yet, but we're going to get there. But having the Speed Pass members and everyone who signed up, not only do they have opportunities to win that kind of money, but they also have opportunities to compete in all these events, have fun with real pro drivers, and get cool experiences outside of this.
Absolutely. And don't forget that you can, of course, get a Speed Pass membership at any time and be eligible to race any race of the season, which you can also do without a Speed Pass membership. Before we go any further into that, you saw the caution is out. Here's a look back at what happened. Julian Ricky in the 97 up top. Eberhardt goes to sneak by on the inside, and oh man, it just looked like the 90 maybe running up a little bit, or the 97 getting loose off the corner. A little tough to tell from that angle. Once they get together, though, it sends the 97 around. Eberhardt gets turned in the process, and it collects multiple cars once again. Here's another angle of it. See the 97 Ricky up there. The 32 is going to dive low. He'll get by without any issue. That's Jacob Smetana. But then as Eberhardt tries to go, man, I just think the 97 maybe a little bit loose right there. Dawson crowding him a little bit off the corner, and that's a big hit for Daniel Eberhardt in the second portion of that incident. And then he's going to get hit a third time as Noah Rainwater and one other driver slides in with nowhere to go.
Man, what a tough break for Daniel Eberhardt, who we just talked about having the tire advantage towards the front of the field and being in a good spot late in this race. And for the 90, getting jackknifed across the field, that's not where you want to be with 18 laps to go at Bristol. Is sideways spinning, involved in an accident, and now right back behind the 8 ball where he started, back in the 10th spot. He's involved. Noah Rainwater in the 0-5 got collected in it, although Rainwater not going to lose many positions from that. He'll still be scored in the 7th spot on the racetrack as they run. Here as we get ready to go back green. Again, it'll be about 16 laps to go. Garrett Maines is still your leader. Malik Ray is in the 2nd spot. Michael Sturgill is 3rd, but Andre Castro is 4th. The 34 has arrived back on the scene and 15 to go. Still plenty of time for Castro to make it happen and potentially have a shot at the win. Jacob Smetana is 5th. Chris Heitz is 6th. Rainwater, of course, is still in the 7th spot. Julian Ricky is still in the 8th spot. Then it's Jacob Booth and Daniel Eberhardt. Only 13 cars now, I believe, on the lead lap. Kenneth Oberlin is 14th, sitting on pit road, multiple laps down. Inside of 15 to go, or actually 16 to go at the line. Green flag back in the air. Top lane stacks up again. Again, Malik Ray missed the memo on the opening start, or on the start rather, getting on the gas pedal. He's going to get to second, but it's a 7-car length lead for Maines to 3.
And right now, we are running out of time really quickly. You can see side by side, back for third. Andre Castro knows it's go time. Trying to get by the 3 of Sturgill. He should complete this pass. Down the backstretch this time. A little bit of damage on the nose of both of those Chevys. I think everybody else, Dawson, just going to be fighting for 5th on back, but up front, Garrett Mange trying to hoist the sails and see if he can run away from Malik Ray. 14 laps left to go here at Bristol.
Yeah, Malik Ray has cut this gap down to about 4 car lengths. Andre Castro is forward at 3rd. He's gotten around Michael Sturgill Jr. Ray wraps the bottom of the racetrack, shorter way around this half-mile Coliseum. Mange running the middle as they run right now, fading more towards the high lane over here on this end of the racetrack. Ray's within 2 car lengths now down the back straightaway. 12 laps to go at the line. We're shaping up for another all-time classic here at the last great Coliseum. 1.5 car lengths between the 2 leaders. Maines leads back to 1.
And for Malik Ray here, he's got to find something. He'll have to search around anything he can to find some extra groove here. Just not quite enough lap time-wise to catch up to that 1 car at the moment. Still about 2 to 3 cars separating them right now as we ride on board here with the 3. And that is Sturgill. He is also trying to catch up to the leaders right now, finds himself in a little bit of traffic. But Dawson, I think once we hit 5 laps to go, if Garrett still has this gap, I don't know if Malik's going to be able to catch him.
He pulled it to about 1.5 car lengths. Now only 10 laps to go at the line. The final 10 laps of ERA Racing at Bristol. Now Malik Ray's moved up. They've swapped places up front. Now Maines wraps the bottom of the racetrack, the shorter way around. And Malik Ray tried the outside lane. It did not benefit him much. He's back within about 2 car lengths at the front of the field. Castro's trying everything he can to get there. He's got some damage aboard his race car. I'm not positive he's got the equipment underneath him to get back to them, but he is trying absolutely everything he can. Jacob Smetana and Noah Rainwater, by the way, have benefited nicely from some of the chaos tonight. They're in line for top 5 finishes. Daniel Eberhardt's on the move, though, for 6th on Michael Sturgill. Ray still up the outside with only 8 laps to go. That outside experiment, it's just not working. He can't get close enough to Garrett Maines.
But he'll continue to search here. Still a little bit of time as I was watching further back. Sturgill continues to fade here for Daniel Eberhardt, trying to get back in the top 5 to make the best of a bad night that he possibly can with that late incident. Everybody else way off the pace, and I don't know if they're going to catch lap traffic in time or not. It'll be 6 laps to go when they cross the stripe this time, and for Malik Ray, still hanging between that 2 to 4 tenths of a second back range. Not close enough to make the move. Dawson, if he could get within about 1/10 of a second, do you think about using the chrome horn to try to get Garrett out of the groove?
I'm not sure you have a choice at a place like Bristol. It might be the only way to make Garrett Maines make a mistake. He's been virtually perfect tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. Not much in terms of self-inflicted wounds. And now that number 1 Junior Motorsports branded Chevrolet starts to get a little bit smaller in the rearview mirror of the Wigan Water Technologies number 1 as Ray fades just a little bit. Eberhardt's on the move. He's trying to get past Rainwater for 5th. He's not going to get close enough without a caution. A valiant effort at a comeback is going to come up a little bit short, but certainly a heck of an effort for Eberhardt nonetheless to recover something out of tonight's race.
And Malik Ray may have used up his stuff here. He has now fallen to almost a second back from Garrett Maines. He's going to need a caution. And remember, we've only got about 1.5 laps left to get that caution. Once we get to the white flag, this race will be official, and we will finish it under green. For Garrett Maines, 2 laps to go. Still wrapping the bottom, and the view outside of the windshield is all clear. He's just got to bring it home. Less than 3/4 of a mile left to go at Bristol.
And how about this for Garrett Maines? He battled his way to a win in Auto Club a few weeks ago. He'll see the white flag that time by 1 lap to go here in ERA competition. He had to battle for it in Auto Club. They made him work for it in Fontana. Tonight, not so much. Dominance for the Wigan Toyota Camry. Garrett Maines back-to-back in ERA. He wins in Thunder Valley.
What a finish for the 1 car. I think Malik Ray and Andre Castro, especially Castro here, good comeback for him, especially with that damage. But those two still going to be holding really tight in the point standings after this one. But for Garrett Maines, 2 wins in only a 5-race season. I would call that pretty dominant, even though we're just about halfway through. Going to be excited to hear from him. And You look at some of the other runs, Dawson. I know we'll look at the results in just a little bit, but for Daniel Eberhard, good comeback for him, breaking back into the top 5. And for Smetana, I think that's a breakout performance from him, bringing his Chevy home in 4th here tonight.
Both Smetanas in the top 10. I talked about Noah Rainwater. A couple of big efforts from guys that were a lap down earlier in this race as well. We'll talk about when we get to the results. But for Garrett Maines, he led every single lap tonight at Bristol. 150 on the docket for Garrett Maines tonight as he dominates in the last great Coliseum. He'll raise the sword in virtual Bristol Victory Lane here in just a few moments. You see as he works the burnout. You think it doesn't mean anything to him? I said this in Fontana a couple of weeks ago. You think it doesn't mean anything to him? Look at these donuts he's doing on the front stretch. He may break the engine out of this car.
It seems like one thing, especially for these guys that are really experienced like Garrett, he's been in the Coke Series before. When you have to race against competition this tight, it just makes it mean that much more. He knows he's not walking home with any payouts here tonight, but he's in good position as we head into the final couple of races. And obviously winning here at Bristol, similar to Daytona, Dawson, this counts as one of the crown jewel racetracks. Everybody loves to win here, and what a cool scene this is for Garrett Maines.
He'll continue to do burnouts all the way around this racetrack. He'll do a victory lap here. We'll see if he climbs the ramp here in just a moment to virtual Bristol Victory Lane. Looks like there's where he is trying to head down to right now as we speak. Of course, you can drive up that ramp now here at Bristol, but he continues to do some celebratory slides there as he looks to get onto the infield and onto the ramp of Victory Lane. While he does so, we'll start to talk about the finishing results of tonight's race here from Bristol Motor Speedway as Maines takes the trip to Victory Lane for the second straight week. You'll see him slide around that corner. He'll have to back this thing up, I think, to get it up the ramp. No, he'll do it he'll do it the flashy way. He'll slide around, do a half spin. Now he'll climb the ramp up to virtual Bristol Victory Lane. And in the shades of so many guys that have won here before, he takes the trip to Bristol Motor Speedway Victory Lane. He'll get the virtual sword. Garrett Maines wins tonight in ERA Omega Cup competition from Bristol over Malik Ray. Andre Castro, a spirited effort to get back to 3rd, but after the incident, he was never able to get back to the one of Garrett Maines. Jacob Smetana, great effort for him in 4th. You noted that one, Austin, a moment ago. Daniel Eberhard recovers to finish in 5th. Some great stories here back half of the top 10. Noah Rainwater, how about that for him in the 6th spot? Can't say enough about the effort of him tonight. Peter Smetana joins Jacob there in the top 7. As who goes 7th, Michael Sturgill back in the 8th spot. And then a pair of guys who were laps down, Chris Heitz and Julian Ricky, round out the top 10.
And Jacob Booth, one of the first Chevys outside of the top 10. He finishes in 11th here tonight. DeAndre Kane in the 90 machine will take home 12th. Kenneth Oberlin finishes 13th. Brian Hennings, saw him get caught up in a few different incidents here tonight. He finishes in 14th. Brian Ewalt in the 11 machine finishes 8 laps down in 15th. Cody Harris in the 28 will take home 16th with Devins Baker back in 17th. John Anderson, saw him caught up in a caution as well tonight. His Chevy finishes back in 18th. Wyatt Gray looked like he was going to have a good car, but then coming down towards the last quarter of this race, got caught up in a few different incidents, so he unfortunately finishes outside of the top 15 in 19th. And that's going to be Howard Strother rounding out the top 20.
5 more cars on the field tonight. Jake Balmain, the night never got better for him. He finishes in 21st. Jacob Mazak in 22nd. Brennan Lyman will go from 23rd. Roland Lyman in 24th. Larry McDonald finishes 25th, the last car in tonight's 25-car ERA field from Bristol. Well, we'll get a chance to talk to the top 3 of tonight's race as we await them in the waiting room. We've got a couple of them there already. So who better to start with than the man in ERA Victory Lane for the second straight race here in Season 1 of 2026. It's the white, blue, and red number 2 of Garrett Maines as he takes another trip to ERA Victory Lane. Garrett, it's the boys in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's back-to-back wins for you in ERA competition. A win in Fontana a few weeks ago. They made you battle for that one tonight. It felt more like dominance. What was going so well for you in the cockpit tonight at the last great Coliseum?
Well, I felt like the only thing that could go against us there was that strategy. And the more, like, the race kept having those cautions at the end, I'm like, watching the laps tick down. And I'm like, I have a set in the pits I really want to take. I just felt like I was going to be at a disadvantage. And there was obviously a point where that flipped. And it's just like, well, the more laps we turn into caution, the more I get everybody gets a heat cycle. But yeah, that was getting me a little nervous there for a little bit because there's a window where you could just be screwed. And we only had 2 sets tonight. So when we had to take one at 64, that kind of left a pretty wide open window for when you take the next set. And they meant a lot. We just thankfully we had a lot of cautions after the first people came down, and that just kind of allowed all of us to kind of get back on the same playing field. And that run to the end there, I was like, just please let it go green.
Well, it does go green, and you are in victory lane once again tonight, raising the sword at the last great Coliseum. I want to talk about some updates we got to this Gen 7 car a couple weeks ago. We know the short track package is a little bit different now. Yeah, obviously, we got to run here, of course, during the official week last September and up until that update. Did you notice a big difference in terms of the horsepower, the way the car handled tonight at Bristol and compared to, say, a month ago here at the last great Coliseum?
Well, I mean, I haven't run it in a while, but I do know from the last time I ran here, the speed that you're carrying into the corner, while it may not feel that much different, there's definitely a difference in when you brake, how long you brake, and it really affects how you get the car to pivot on exit. And then that was something that clicked when somebody reminded me, oh yeah, they changed it. When you go back to the power, you have to be easier with it. Not saying you could like mat it before, but there was definitely less patience. If you wanted to go, you could get your foot flat to the floor early and sacrifice some tire temperature. Now you do that, you sacrifice your car and you end up in the infield. So it's definitely nice to have a little bit more of a skill factor to it. It took me a little bit to figure that out. I mean, I was trying to keep the tires on it, and I couldn't tell how much everybody around me was pushing hard. I felt like, there with the fall off at the end, it's hard to tell if people had damage or if it was just like everybody's tires are worn slam out. But I was trying to take care of it while I was leading and just not give up that track position, and it seemed to work out.
Well, a pair of wins for you now here, Season 1 2026. Of course, last race in Fontana, tonight in Bristol. That means you're going to maintain the points lead going forward, but it is a points battle. 2 races remain. What is the game plan here as the points are tighter than ever headed forward to races 4 and 5?
Yeah, I mean, with the way the points format works, and there's, no bonus point for winning, nothing like that. So if you win and the guy you're competing against finishes second every time, well, you better keep on winning because you don't have much room for error. So I think the plan is to try to keep on winning, and at a bare minimum, I better finish right behind him. It's kind of the game plan going from here. But happy to be able to get a win for Wigan Water Technologies here, kicking off the GR Cup season this week. It's been good to keep the keep the momentum on a roll here. So big thank you to them for all their support. Big thank you to Scott at MCU Body and Linux for just helping me stay on the racetrack this year.
Well, Garrett, congratulations on the win tonight. Thanks for your time. Any other thank yous or shout outs you'd like to give here on the way out the door?
Yeah, I also got to give a huge shout out to PGR eSports for their support in the Coke Series. Then had another good run last night with the top 5 at Darlington. So we're actually going to Bristol next week, which I'm really looking forward to. Because if I had to rank tracks, this is in my top 3. So this will be one of the first races in like a month that I've actually been home to turn laps to practice. So hopefully we can just go a little bit better than top 5 coming up next Tuesday.
Well, tonight it is victory lane for you at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Back-to-back wins here in 2026 Omega Cup competition. Congrats on the win tonight. Thanks for your time, for talking to us here for a few moments. Go enjoy it. Go celebrate. We'll see you for the next one.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Garrett Maines, the winner tonight from Bristol Motor Speedway. We will await Malik Ray in the 1, so we will skip over him for just a moment as he gets some technical things sorted out on his end as we await him back in the top 3 waiting room. We'll move down to the 3rd step of the podium here for just a moment. We'll get to talk to a guy who had a roller coaster of an evening here tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. Ran second for a lot of the race, caught some trouble in the middle portions, got back all the way to 3rd. With a few more laps, might have been a different story at the end of this one. It's the 34 of Andre Castro, and he stands by with my partner, Austin Green.
Hey, Andre, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah. I guess I could get on camera.
What's
Actually, I don't know
that?
if I have the... I was going to say I could get on camera, but I closed the link.
Oh, well, no worries about it. If you get it up, we can try to fix it. If not, no worries there either. The bigger thing is the fact that you finish on the podium once again here tonight. Man, you were so good all race long. Looked like you and Maines were neck and neck, but you get caught up in a couple of incidents late. Do you think if you had another 25 to 50 laps, you could have had enough to get back to the leaders?
I don't know. I think it was hard to pass when I was behind Garrett. He was placing his car in good places to try to yeah, basically keep me behind. I don't know how much of his tire he was using. He probably wasn't going 100%, but you know, it was fun to battle with him and Cody just that whole run because we were changing kind of the line we were driving all the time. So it was nice to search for the grip. And then I think on one of those restarts, just I think Malik timed it pretty well, and he laid back a little bit and just got ahead of me into one, and I tried to nail the throttle to stay on the outside of him, and just the rear just went around. So yeah, I'm surprised most people missed me. Just one guy didn't really slow down and plowed me, but got the faster pair, and then actually, you know, I was considering pitting for tires anyway, and then I had new tires, and I felt like actually could still have a shot, but yeah, then I think someone came down the track and into me and got kind of caught up in a wreck, and so it gave me front end damage, and it was super tight after that, so didn't really have a chance, even though I had the fresher tires, but it was fun. It was just really hard to pass, but third place in the championship, so feeling okay about that.
Absolutely. And, you know, outside of the couple of incidents that, of course, you got caught up in here tonight, you just mentioned the championship standings. Obviously, you've been so close to the win the last couple of weeks. Next week, obviously, we get back to the little bit bigger racetracks with 1.5 miles on the schedule. How do you feel about your chances to maybe get that first win of the season as we head into next week?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's always going to be tough to beat the Coke guys for sure. We'll just have to wait and see. Kansas is interesting track for sure. I'm not really sure which line is going to be the best there. It might move around as well. But you know, I think to beat the Coke guys and win the race, I'll have to have, you know, pretty generational performance. So I'm definitely, it's not far in terms of time. It's just kind of they know the really little things, the tricks, you know, to really come out on top most of the time. And they're, you know, some of the best in the world. So yeah, it's gonna be fun, and you know, hopefully we have a good last couple of races. Thanks to ERA, obviously, for putting it on. It was fun running the ERA car, you know, in real life, of course, and it's going to be cool to see it this weekend in action at Rockingham in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, again, a good run for you here tonight, Andre. I know you probably wanted a couple results better, but you're going to come out of this top 3 in the standings, it looks like, as well. So before we let you head out, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Just Kevin Campbell Designs, you know, for designing the car, ERA, Jesse and Matt, and the whole broadcast team, and all of you for putting this on. It's been fun. It's been a fun series so far.
Absolutely. Well, Andre, we appreciate you talking to us once again. Congrats on the 3rd place finish tonight, and we will see you next week at Kansas.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Andre Castro, 3rd for him tonight here in Bristol. Not going to get a chance to speak with Malik Ray tonight, unfortunately, but we will see him next week as we start to move into the last 2 races of this schedule. We'll start to bring things to a close here tonight in Thunder Valley. And Austin, as we start to wrap things up, Bristol, we were promised chaos, and I think not only did it deliver, I think it went even further than that. A lot of twists and turns and roller coaster moments to tonight's race of the world's fastest half mile.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the first half of the race actually felt a little bit more on the tamer side. I thought that trend would continue through the end, but typical Bristol took over, and that led to a lot of carnage for a lot of good drivers. One man that didn't have to worry about any of it was the driver who led just about every single lap tonight, Garrett Maines. He got the win, but for Malik Ray, Andre Castro, even Daniel Eberhard, all still really going to be close in the championship standings. Dawson, I can't wait to see what's going to happen next week at Kansas. We have had close races all throughout the season so far, and I think we're going to see that over the next couple of weeks as well.
The championship battle, the stage is set for the last 2 weeks of the season. What a couple of weeks it's going to be to determine who is the first champion of the ERA Omega Cup here in 2026. That will start to bring things to a close here from Bristol Motor Speedway, though, as we start to look forward to next week. You heard Austin say it, Kansas Speedway is the host of next Wednesday's race right back here on PGR eSports on YouTube, the iRacing YouTube, and the ERA YouTube platforms as well. You can watch all of those places next week at 8 p.m. Eastern as these drivers take on the Cookie Cutter Oval in Kansas for race 4 of this first season of 2026. Tonight from Bristol, Garrett Maines walks away with a victory at the world's fastest half mile, and now we set our sights on a couple of 1.5 miles to end off the season, a couple of places where surely this championship battle will take a couple of more turns. I want to thank everyone with ERA for having us once again here this week. I want to thank all of our special guests tonight as well over the course of this race. Jesse Awuji, Bobby Zelensky, and Alex LeBay. I want to thank them for their time, taking some time out to talk with us here tonight on the broadcast as well. I want to thank my broadcast team. Tonight, our pit reporter downstairs was Tyler Vickery, doing hard work track level to get you all the latest stories and feed us information about what was going on the racetrack. I want to thank our producer downstairs, Christian Hill, doing fantastic work on the production controls. I want to thank my broadcast partner, Austin Green, for joining me on the microphone once again tonight from Bristol. That'll just about do it for us here from Thunder Valley. What a race it was. Congratulations to Garrett Maines on the victory at Bristol. For all of our broadcast team and our ERA partners and all of us here at PGR Esports, thank you so much for your attendance tonight at Bristol. We cannot wait to see where this season moves on from here. Until then, everyone have a great night, have a great week. Happy Easter if you celebrate, and we'll see you next week from Kansas. Good night.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
It's an experience, man.
Yes, it was. Hell yeah, that is real. That is real.
Experience NASCAR like never before. Take the wheel at NASCAR Racing Experience now.
Hey Jesse, this eRacing Association car is feeling pretty good around Rockingham. Have you tested it yet?
Yeah, Jesse, I'm testing the ERA Rockingham car right now in the sim. I think we got it driving pretty good.
Hey Jesse, you did a pretty good job getting that ERA car ready for Rockingham. You want to let Mr. Alex know?
Bobby Zelensky.
Bobby Zelensky.
Bobby Zelensky.
Bobby Zelensky here. I will finally be your NASCAR champion.
Bobby Zelensky wins at Richmond Raceway. Zelensky wins his 5th straight road course win. Zelensky holds them all at bay to win at Talladega.
Bobby Zelensky is headed to Phoenix.
The championship favorite, he once again solidifies it.
One of the GOATs, one of the best to do it. It's our man, Bobby Z.